Hello, Darklings. Welcome back. I've missed you. And I have an incredible update with my workings with Lilith. I wanted to come on here and elaborate on the information I had already exposed on why I wanted to continue working with her this month and some of the keys she revealed to me. Keep in mind that this is my personal work. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's cool. But this was my channeling my message. So I am following this in my path working with her. And if you don't find it to be truth, then you leave it. So this is simply to just share my experience. And I'm so happy for those who are following along and those who have participated in this tag. I hope that you get the keys and fulfillment that you deserve through this. As I said in my last video, I was getting nervous last month because all I was doing, devoting myself completely to Lilith and reaching out, I didn't really get anything. And I wasn't used to that because before, when I had worked with Lilith, I had quite intense experiences with her. My workings with Lilith have always gone amazingly. Usually before, it was with sex magic and other rites and working with like incubus spirits. But now I'm trying to acquire and accumulate knowledge. That's what I hunger for. That is what I am after ultimately. And I believe that I got quite a breakthrough last night. So let's start with the end of last month. As I was saying, I wasn't getting anything. And then the very last day, I had started my cycle. And it was the new moon. And I'm sitting on my bed. And my altar right behind me, you know that I have the keys for the tag. This key symbolically on the altar to represent the knowledge that I obtain from who I am working with and honoring. Anyway, it had completely flipped from its mount, which there's no way it could have done that. And it's a very heavy key, like it's metal, it's heavy. So it isn't like, you know, a gust could have knocked it over. Anyway, my boyfriend was sitting with me and we heard a crash, boom, on the altar. And I walk over to it and the key had landed on Lilith's sigil on the altar, and I felt her presence and I knew that she wanted to communicate. So I pulled out my pendulum. He pulled his out too. And what was interesting was during this whole like pendulum reading, his pendulum did the exact same thing mine was doing to all the questions I was asking Lilith. Anyway, back it up a little. I used her sigil instead of a pendulum board, and I was asking and meditating on connecting with her energy and asking her all kinds of questions pertaining to the world. I'll keep that to myself. I was trying to get an understanding of what it was she was trying to say to me. And two of the key important messages that I got from the pendulum reading or communication with her was, one, I need to align my head with the heart, which is basic stuff, right? We already knew this. We've been past this. But like I said in my previous video, you come so far and you forget, you forget the basics. And she also advised that I return to other basic occult knowledge and revisit it, but with a different perspective. I thought that was really interesting because what if all of the popular and common knowledge that we accumulate pertaining to, I don't know, the witch's pyramid, your chakras, all kinds of stuff out there, the alchemical depiction of the divine union of the masculine and feminine, all of these occult knowledges, the Kabbalah, all of this swarming around and a fuck ton of information on it. And what if that key is within us to perceive it in our own way and walk with that? Like I've always said, I can give my experiences and my information, but I cannot exactly teach you. In my personal opinion, nobody really can teach you. We can learn from others and from their examples and compare notes in our practices, but we can give advice. We can help, but no one can teach you how to walk your path spiritually. All those answers come from within you and what you observe, what you do every day to bond with that path and practice. With that being said, I did a ritual of evocation with Lilith, and I felt heavily with my intuition that I needed to do this. And the information I got was very profound for me. It got me thinking. It got me really thinking and wondering. And I think I'm going to follow this advice. And I'm really interested to see where this takes me. But without further ado, I wanted to let you know that she did explain that she was trying to use words or explain it in a way I could understand it. She had also confirmed it doesn't matter what you really call it, the divine, or how you want to label it. It is way bigger than how we can perceive it. It is so much bigger, and we fear it because when we pass away, because I had questions about the afterlife and ascension. And essentially, she was telling me that when we pass over, we carry our conscious and our unconscious. And when we fear the light of the divine, the love, we come back because we're holding on to feelings of shame, guilt, unworthiness, and it keeps us trapped here, ultimately. So we're going to talk a little bit about forgiveness too, but forgiveness, not how it's commonly viewed. Forgiveness, as in the way she explained it to me, of using a different perspective or perception on every angle of every incident. Every incident that causes you pain, causes you humiliation, every incident where the ego kicks in overdrive and it's manifesting all of these things in life, these lessons, right? These things we're supposed to be learning from. We fear that unconditional, powerful love because somewhere inside of us feels unworthy when we carry it over, from my understanding. And that made a lot of sense to me. I did the automatic writing and was channeling through the evocation, Lilith, and I'm excited to share it with you. So let's get into it, and I would love to hear what you think in the comments. Some of it was cryptic. I still got to think on it. Some of it I don't know how to take. I'm still deciphering, still working through all of that, doing some deeper readings with tarot and stuff to try to decipher it a little more for my understanding. But I think I have a general understanding of what she was trying to say, and we're going to talk about that. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this message I received from her. I'm always open to other ways of looking at things, and I'm just really excited about all of this. The message goes as follows. The occult alchemical union is of me and Samal, Yahweh and Sophia, the union of the material world, which is masculine, and the spiritual world, which is feminine. There is a deception that they are separate, a deception that you wait for a return of divinity. I am already here. I never left, only ignored, creating imbalance. The spirit and material realm is one. I have made that pact in my union. Everything is spiritual. My essence is in everything, just as the material is everywhere. Acknowledge this, balance this. The world has begun, but we have far to go in the understanding of this. I have never left, only suppressed, but there is no separation from spirit, no separation from me. When humanity fails to see this, they manifest it, and it is so. Acknowledge this key, Sophia, dark matter, the hidden, whichever name that it is labeled by, the feminine, which was snuffed out, but never gone, only forgotten. This reality of matter has tried to make you forget, so you can be trapped here. And the deceived collective help make it so because you have fallen from your divinity, forgotten who you are, and made it so. You are taught to be afraid of spirit, afraid of me. But I assure you, the world cannot exist without me, spirit. No creation is without the other. That is why magic is pulled from my realm and materializes in your realm, or perceived as such. Creation. Material is the seed, the elements of solid matter, with the elements of which that I am. Both are within you. Your body, the image of He, your spirit, the image of me. You fight some truths at a higher level. None on earth can fathom the truths yet, no matter how spiritual one is, which is why you remain on the cycle. You refuse to forgive, meaning seeing others as the divine would see them. See others as you would with the love of your own children. Do I not look at my children and love them unconditionally? Love one another as I have loved you. If you do not take this to heart and mind, you will come back until you realize you are holding yourself there by holding on to insanity. Things which do not matter in the divine reality, in your home which you run from by feelings of guilt, anger, pride, the ego, the trickster. Always see all in a different perspective. In all that is painful, all that is dark. Transcend this. You hold the star to transcend and change the dark. Bring it to light. The star is within the mind. The star shines if nurtured, vibrating the pineal gland. Nurture this and illuminate this, and it will awaken the serpents to rise. You are the tree of life and death. Lower half is the heavy, upper half lighter. The key I give you is this. The key I give you is to vibrate the third eye by illuminating, opening it like the sacred pine cone in the sunlight, even if dead. It opens to light, depicted in many stories. Through vibration, Kundalini, you awaken and transcend as I did. I was the first, before Jesus, before Buddha, before many masters. Hold the serpent high and sacred. Understand you are in a cloud of darkness, a cloud you all collectively create because of a soul fear of your divine self. When you are not afraid to come home, then you are free. Your soul is afraid to admit it. Find the key written within yourself. Find the key formulas in the occult basics and knowledge from a perspective within you, not the world's perspective about it. The answers you already know. You've forgotten. You are just afraid. Hold the star of Ishtar. Hold the star. Hold the star. Pretty powerful stuff, right? And it's interesting to me that she referred to our reality of matter being the masculine energy, like the divine masculine energy, and the reality of spirit, the ethereal, the other realms that everyone thinks is kind of woohoo, unless you're like us and kind of have an understanding of it, is the feminine, and they are one. In our reality, we're deceived into believing they are separate when they are not. They are that alchemical union of creation for us and our being and this whole realm or school. And I find that fascinating because is her words not true? Are we not taught to look at the spiritual realm um, through religion or what have you in a very masculine driven way? Or are we not taught that the spiritual realm is evil, etc.? Stay away from it. Those are tricks of our reality um, that keep us separate from it. When that you see that picture or depiction of the divine alchemical union, that is the spirit and earth together in harmony, balancing everything that is. So that is quite fascinating to me. Gives me a lot to think about. My next thoughts on this, that there is no separation and that it keeps us here, like we're afraid. If I set down my ego and think about it, perhaps we are. We all kind of have a fear of death. We all have a fear unconsciously of not being worthy, right? We fear going to hell no matter how great we think we've been. We fear nothing will be there. We fear we might come back. We might not. We fear the unknown of that. So imagine carrying this into the next realm and you see this unconditional love, and because of that fear it holds you back, or fear of things you did in life or other people did, things we hold on to that keep us here. And then that creates a heavy imbalance on earth, because are we not co-creators? Are we not creating a lot of this ourselves? It gives me a lot to think about. Perhaps man has totally misconstrued Yahweh and religion and the Bible, and tried to be too logical with it, tried to snuff out some of these answers due to fear of that divine love. Because doesn't religion constantly tell you you're not worthy? That we were born sinners? So that alone would be in the back of our minds, which is why programming a lot of this dogma is so important. There's something to that. I think Buddhists who train their whole life to die in a certain consciousness, maybe they understand something that we don't, right? So a lot of us talk about the goddess returning, right? And she's going to set balance to the earth. Lilith says she never left. She never left. And that completely changed my point of view on this. And I'm like, how could I have not known this? I did know all along. I didn't perceive it that way, right? I perceived it as a grand energy that is reawakening, because how could it be here already with all this stuff going on, right? All this imbalance. But if you really look, she is in everything. She has been here. We have to embrace this and awaken this. We have to bring it to life and balance the both here on earth and acknowledge both. I heard, through some sources that when even religion first started, they acknowledged a goddess, a feminine energy. And later, that was no longer a thing. So by us not acknowledging this, perhaps it kind of dulled that down in our ascension, our minds. So that's my thoughts about that part. As far as seeing things, painful things that we don't want to acknowledge in another perspective, that can be very hard here on earth, especially with some of the horrible things we see that go on. And it's really hard to imagine looking at a lot of that in a different perspective. I'll do my best. but I can't promise anything. You know? I think a lot of us could agree on that. But I guess she just wants us to acknowledge that there's divinity in all of us, regardless of our actions. And maybe that doesn't mean putting up with it, bad behavior, but an understanding to be able to forgive for us, not them. One thing I do find very interesting about this is the star, the light. We're sent here to illuminate all the darkness in our world that we see. So illuminate it through transcending and raising our consciousness, as she described in here, like she and many after her did. So our pineal gland, it is true, think about it. How many depictions of a pine cone do we see on staffs and on walls of certain cultures? Like, there are a lot of pine cones that were honored. And a lot of people have related it to the pineal gland before. But I need to see, is this true? Like, can a dead pine cone open up under light? And according to this message I got from Lilith, our pineal glands are like this pine cone. And if we focus on our light illuminating the darkness around us or in our lives, it opens our third eye and vibrates it, which is interesting. And that in turn awakens the serpent's Kundalini energies. And we hold the power, the light, to do this, to really change the fabrics of our reality. And if you look at it, when Lilith changed herself and flew from Eden, she did the same. So really, the symbols are there in the stories. Again, like she suggested, a different perspective on it. That's really, really cool. I do think that I want to revisit all these perspectives in this occult information that we have accumulated over the years. However, approaching it with her help through a different point of view, and see how I could relate that to myself. The cloud of darkness. So we all know the ego is a part of this reality. We have to have it. It anchors us here. But our ego is the trickster. And sometimes I think we need to decipher and try to understand what the ego really is. Though it's needed to play this game, we have to be able to see its tricks, right? So it's the ego that pops up once you've done the work. And you're like, I've done the work, so why am I facing this obstacle? You know, for example, say you're an addict. You've gotten clean. You've been clean for a while. But then all of a sudden, once you're going on with your day, something comes along, maybe an old friend that tempts you. And you're going, I've done this work. Why is this here? Because the ego is going to manifest these things from our subconscious minds and test us. How well did we do that work? That is the ego's job. The ego's job is to see if we really learned and if we really can transmute this darkness into light. That's really interesting to think about. I definitely want to do more thinking on the ego and maybe try to get some more information as far as how it really works. Because who really has a real understanding of the ego? We may think we do, but I feel like this personally in my practice should be looked into more. We have all this information, oh, ego death, this, that, the other. No, we need to. I feel like there is a balance in there we can find and really try to get a good understanding of the ego more so than what we do. It's rarely talked about, and it's kind of our anchor in this reality and kind of our tester. I've even heard that the ego could be labeled as Satan. It's possible. You know, I'm open to many ideas pertaining to the ego. And I'm sure we need it to try to get over and face our own crap. If it does manifest these things to trick us into staying in the game, then would be a necessary evil. How else can we adapt? I mean, after all, we created that too, did we not? If this information is correct, is what creates this cloud of darkness that we're in, because we don't feel worthy at a soul level. Collectively, we are creating all this darkness. And if we woke up to who we are and the light we carry within us, we have the power and ability to change it. We're a long ways, I fear, but we'll get there. That's going to take unity and love and putting aside things that we don't really want to always put aside. I find it so interesting because if you go through a lot of the Gnostic texts, you know Lilith's origin story, of course. Everybody does. But when you dig and dig for more sources, you find that later she seduced Yahweh himself, and then she again made another transformation into Sophia, the lighter mother, the mother of all of us. And I do feel like these are just stories that we can take and utilize in our path. None of us truly know what really happened. And I do feel there's truth in these things. But what if she was just always there? What if she had our experience and she fell, but learned to get back up and found ascension? And that's how she knows to help us. Did Jesus not have to come here and then transform to find his divinity? See, all of these stories, we can use them for our own ascension. They are guidebooks for us to use for our paths. Really, I'm just sitting here thinking out loud, and I feel like I have a lot to think on with this. I have a lot to decipher, see what I want to take from it, what I might leave for later. No matter what information you get, sometimes you're not always ready for some of it, others you are. So I am going to think on this more, see what I want to take and roll with and utilize in my path. But for the coming weeks, I will be returning to the basics and show you guys my different perspective on them and the information that I find within myself, as Lilith has instructed me to do. I'm going to be looking at elements, which is pyramid, just certain basic things that I learned years ago, but reapproaching them. This should be fun. It's exciting. It's almost like restarting, you know, but in a different way. And now that I know some things that I do know, maybe I could utilize it a bit better. Thank you guys so much for coming and listening, and I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you later.